can start from the very beginning. So I'm just going to turn my music up. Sorry if you're catching the replay. We experienced some technical difficulties with the first try of this one. So I'm just going to play some music for a minute until I see the views. Hello, can you hear me this time? I will turn the music completely off. Okay. Oh, man. In my defense, I did warn everybody when I asked if I could start going live that there is not very many lives where something doesn't go a little bit Panda-ish. So here we go. It's okay, Gail. She just knows me well. Okay, let's try this again, shall we? Hello. We're doing the easy Plaid tonight. And I'm going to start from the very beginning since I was muted for that whole time. I'm not sure why you couldn't hear me. All I did was unplug and replug in my microphone, and then when I did that, my computer decided that it was going to have a heart attack, and then I ended up booting myself completely. So here we go again. Oh, thank you. And I have my cup of tea. So I'll put that to the side. Thank you, Mum. Okay, so to get the easy Plaid, I thought this would be a good time to do, especially coming up to Christmas in case you want to make gifts or you've got orders. Doing it the old way that I used to do it, I used to wrap painter's tape horizontally, and then I'd wrap it vertically, and then I'd cut out the squares, and then I'd Mod Podge, and I'd glitter, and I'd repeat. I've done it with double-sided tape once, and it took me not even half the time. So I thought I'd share it with you, especially coming up to Christmas, because Plaid seems to be, I mean, the only time of year for me, in my experience, that it's popular is around Christmas time. So here we go. To get to this point, because I was trying to save a little bit of time, I sanded, this is a 20-ounce skinny. I would recommend doing it on a skinny. The size doesn't matter, right? Just as long as you do skinny. I prefer to do them on the 20 ounces. I sanded it, I washed it, I spray painted it. If the colors that I'm using tonight are purple and teal, right? The request was for purple, and my original idea was to do, I'm trying to get that where the light doesn't reflect. I was going to do a lavender and a black, okay? I decided at the last minute today that I was going to do deep purple and teal, because then I'm going to save the cup for me and use it for myself, and they're my favorite colors. So when you're doing a Plaid, you need your two colors, and you need a 50-50 mix, which, trying to keep that in frame, I've already made up. Okay, so your two colors and your 50-50 mix is the first step that you need to decide on. From there, when you're prepping your cup, and in hindsight, I probably should have base sprayed this black, because I would have had a less chance of it possibly not being or needing a second coat if I'd done it black. But hindsight's the only vision of mine that is 2020. So if you were doing, say, a red Plaid, you'd spray paint your base red. If it was blue and black, you'd spray paint it blue, and so on and so forth. And that's if you're doing a pattern where it's black and another color. You'd use that other color as your base color. So had I done the purple and the black pattern, which was my original plan, I would have spray painted this a lavender color. Okay, that eliminates any need to do a second coat of glitter whatsoever, and it makes it the easiest way, because once your glitter's done, all you've got to do is spray seal it, and then it's ready for epoxy. So yeah, hindsight, I probably should have spray painted it black, and that would have eliminated any further risk. But the last one that I did red and black, and I spray painted it red, and that worked really well. So once I spray painted it, I have then wrapped it. If you can see my attempt at doing a straight line, I've wrapped it with double-sided tape. The last time I did it, I used 18mm double-sided tape. This time I'm using 24 because it's just thicker, and I like the big thick squares, so I'm doing it for me. So this, I just got this one from Spotlight. It's the 24mm tape. And then to match, and I got this at Bunnings, you need a matching width for painter's tape as well. Okay, so I went through and did the double-sided tape on this already, just to save a little bit of time. And if you can see at the very top here, it's just a little skinny one. I'm in two minds. I probably will end up doing like half squares just to finish off the pattern around the top. But at one stage I was considering just doing it a solid teal. But I think I will do it. I'm just going to scroll down for comments. We need a candy cane cup. Oh, candy cane cups would be exactly the same way, but I would recommend. Right, I've only ever done it once, and I use double-sided tape for candy cane as well. You mark if that's your cup. That's at a really weird angle tonight. I can't quite get up under the lens. Anyway, so you'd mark a spot here and a spot here. You'd wrap it all with, I think this is 12mm tape. And you'd start from one side and you'd lay your tape down until it lined up with the mark on the other side. Does that make sense? If you can see the swirls in the background? I did that freehand because it was done by hang method, but same idea. I'm doing a tutorial on glitter swirls this week for YouTube actually. But you mark your sides, and then you start at one side, and as you come around you then line up on the other side, and from there you work your pattern up with double-sided tape, and then on the other side you work it down and you end up with a spiral. But I can do that if you want, but it's pretty much the same technique with the double-sided tape. Okay, so I've laid my tape. Once my tape is on, I get my little Cricut squidgy and push it all down and make sure that it's really adhered. From there, what else are you going to need? You're going to need your painter's tape. You need a ruler. You need a X-Acto knife, which I'll get that now. Just any kind of stabby tool. I use a paintbrush to dry brush, and some tweezers, because tweezers make lifting those squares up a lot easier. So from here, swatch double-sided tapes on. We're going to start from here. Going to get painter's tape. I'll try and keep this in frame when I do it. I want to start, and it wasn't very straight, but the top three are. So just a little bit out, about there, from where my line is for my double-sided tape, just because then when I do the squares, that's going to be, like the lines are sort of kind of, if they'd been straight, would have been in the middle of a square, and that's where I put my name, because the name covers it a little bit. So making sure it goes straight down. I'm going to use scissors so that the top stays straight. And I'm real tight arsey with my craft supplies as well. If you want to line, make sure that's pushed down. If you want to line the whole lot with tape, you can. I prefer to save my supplies, so I'll put this line and the next line down, and then this line that I'm placing now I'm going to lift up and use for the next, right? But you want to leave the tiniest little smidge of a gap between your lines, right? And that is going to be where you run your X-Acto knife down to cut. Can you see where we're going with this? Because once you cut, right, you lift off all the tape, once it's cut, you've got your squares that are cut. Super, super easy. I'll stop moving. How was everybody's weekend? I went to Sydney this weekend. My best friend had her first baby. And he was born mid-August. So he'll be 10 weeks now, but he was 9 weeks on the weekend. So I thought, since, you know, she's my best friend and it's her first baby, now that things have calmed down a little bit in Sydney. I mean, she's in Western Sydney, so nowhere near where a lot of the trouble was. And we didn't go anywhere. We just sat at home the whole time and ordered Uber Eats. And we saw the baby. Oh, he's so beautiful. Okay, so see the tiny, tiny little gaps? Okay, so now this one I'm going to use for here. So that was my weekend. Anybody do anything exciting? Okay, so next bit of tape. And when I did it with the 18mm tape, I ended up with a gap that was like 1.5 wide. Like I didn't get an even amount around the whole cup. So I'm wondering if using a slightly bigger tape this time, if I'm going to save myself the hassle or if I'm going to end up with an even bigger gap. Which is kind of why I wanted to do the name where it joins on the other side. Because if it's going to be an uneven pattern around that area anyway, then it looks like I deliberately made it bigger to fit the name instead of just me not measuring out properly. Okay, so then we lift this one off. Maybe. Lay it this way. Oh, I've still got music playing. Alright, we'll see how we go. Because the music that I use for streaming on Twitch is actually royalty-free music. That's this program here. But Facebook kept trying to mute me when I was using it. Hi, Lisa! Lockdown COVID Melbourne. Yeah, from what I've been reading, they're thinking about lifting restrictions down there. Is that correct? And giving you a little bit of freedom back. I'm up on the mid-north coast in New South Wales. So we have been, where I am, we've been very, very lucky. And I'm hoping it stays that way. But so far, so good. We did have a little bit of a breakout, but even then it was only, I think, not even 100 people. So we didn't do too badly. But I do have friends down in Melbourne, so you have been on my mind. I'm Port Macquarie, Anna. So like halfway between Sydney and Brisbane. But I grew up in Sydney. Like I spent the first 25 years of my life out the other side of Parramatta. Almost done. Yeah, okay. This is what... Oh, it's actually going to be smaller, not bigger. That's all right. We'll just do a whole lot and hide that fact. That actually works out better than having a really big gap. But it's not quite... Hang on. Stick that down and pull that up so I don't forget. See, little smidge. So that's my pattern the whole way around. And if you see, if I can get that to focus, please focus. Please focus. See, now we've got those perfect squares. Isn't that pretty? Okay. I just, so satisfying. Straight lines are so satisfying. Okay. the next bit. I am lucky enough to have one of these wonderful holder things. I'm going to move you up while I do this. Please pay no attention to the mess in the background. I'm just going to pretend like that's not there tonight. Okay. I'm going to cut using this. If you don't have your own deagle, what are they called? Like the application stand, please find some other way to secure your cup, because the next step is cutting these lines. And the last thing we want you to do is slip and hurt yourself. So I'm just going to move that down just a little bit. Oh, okay, we're going to push right through. That's all right. We'll do that. Okay, so this is where the ruler comes in. I'm going to try and do this in a way where you guys can see, but so can I. I need new foam on my decal holder. Okay, so I line it up with the edge of the blue tape. See that? And you do want to press hard. You want to press so that you're trying to basically cut through the cup. Right? If you want to do it, actually, do I want to do it freehand? No, I don't want to do it freehand. I'm left-handed, so we're doing it this way. Okay, so once the ruler lines up, probably. Okay, I'm going to have to use other parts of my body to do this, guys. I was going to try and be a bit more graceful about it, but I can't. So I'm just going to do it how I always do it. And that is using my belly. Okay. I'm going to cut. And it's still moving. Okay, we're going to do it bit by bit then. And now I'll be back in frame. I give up. Can you hear that scraping against the metal? Right, so you want to cut deep enough, and I'm cutting through the tape. That you're cutting into the cup. Okay, because when you lift your backing off your double-sided tape, and this is okay. When you lift off like the white bit, you want to be able to lift off without it grabbing onto the rest. Okay, so I'm going to do this again. I had plastic ruler the last time I did this, but it was only like a broken one. And I'm wondering if that may have been a better option. Okay. It's better as long as the ruler doesn't slide. There we go. Okay. This is going to take a minute, guys. I'm sorry. But there was no way around the slow steps, because then, well, I wouldn't have been able to explain it to you. Personally, I'm a visual learner. Like, I have to see somebody doing it to get the concept. And I just slipped. So, you get to watch the boring part. That's why we have that. Exactly right. My daughter actually came home the other day really upset because her friends were making fun of her because her mum was fat. But I don't care that they have an opinion about me, because I can guarantee you half the kids that were saying this haven't even seen what I look like. I'm still not 100% sure if they were talking about me or if they were talking about her, but she doesn't want to admit that they were bullying her, so it's about me instead, because she can deflect a little bit sometimes. But she came up home really upset because she had to stand up for me at school because the kids at school were calling me fat. So I told her to go back to school and tell them that my personality won't fit in anything smaller. Because it's true. Okay. Oh, this is the little one. Yeah, I can't. Basically, all I'm doing is lining up the ruler to the side of the blue line and cutting down deep enough that I cut through down to the cup. So I'm cutting through that double-sided tape. But I'm left-handed, so it's a bit backwards for you guys, I'm sorry. Where did we start? Here. Okay, we're making progress. Look, if... I suppose, I mean, I vaguely remember being 9. But I've always been teased about my weight. It took me far longer than it should have to realise that I shouldn't actually care about what people say about me. But I do understand if they were talking about me or if they were talking about her, how hurtful that must have been. But I'm also the kind of person that has a bad habit of turning everything into a joke. Hence my personality quib that I told her to go back to school. But she came home today fine. So hopefully they've moved on to something more interesting than me. Kids. I don't know. Kids were pretty cruel when I was a kid. But nothing. I mean, nothing of what they're like today. I remember, we were teenagers before the boys started fighting the way that they fight now. And I was in my late teens before I witnessed my first seriously physical cat fight with females. And now that's, you see news articles all the time where they're kids. So something's going wrong there. I think kids are they don't yet understand that their words have lifetime power, but they are also very aware that their words have power, just not the extent of how much it can hurt, I think, or I hope to think. I picked a lot of fights when I was a teenager. I was a pretty rebellious teenager. But looking back now, if I have 2 boys, 1 girl, I'm really hoping that when they say your karma comes back threefold, that's not what they meant. Because my daughter alone at the age of 9 is already like me at the age of 15 in regards to her back chatting and her sass. So, oh, Lord, please. Is it too late to apologise for being a rebellious teenager? She's got a heart of gold, but man, does she have a mouth. And I say that with all the love I have in my heart for her. Last one, guys. Woohoo! That wasn't as smooth and graceful as I had hoped it would be on film, but we got it done. Okay, so now we can get everything out of the way and hydrate. Quickly hydrate. Tracy, I agree. And I'm not the... Oh, look what I did to the bottom. Whoops. I'm not the most clean-mouthed person to exist. But even just like some of the topics that they're coming home and talking about because they've been talking about it. No, it's too early. Mine are 9 and 10. It's too early. Okay, so if we lift all these off, I'll see if I can get it to focus. We will have our squares. See? Ta-da! Squares! So, oh no, I lost the top of my square. Oh, whoops. Okay, well, I guess that's where we're starting then. It does take a little bit of time to prep, obviously. But once all your prep work's done, from here on in, it's really straightforward. So, since we're starting here, I'm then going to go through and with my tweezers, I'm going to lift every second square. And I have a little cup to put all of my thingos in. Stick that bit down. Okay, so skip one. Do this one. So I always start with my darker colour first, but these are pretty much of a muchness. So I think we'll go purple first and then we'll do teal. Okay, so with your Plaid pattern, if you've ever seen it, say I missed every second square on here, right? These in between squares are going to be our 50-50 mix. Then the next line, the spaces, but just so if I've got 2 squares here that are going to be teal, this square here is going to be purple. So I'm going to leave a whole line because that's going to be purple and the purple and the 50-50 mix. And then we want to go to the next one after that. Makes sense? So when you're pulling your first color off, you want to do every second square on a line and then leave a whole row. And then the next row, we're going to do the same. Start at the top because that's where we started the last one. I just had it. No. And that's what I mean by make sure you cut right through, because I just took, where did I take that off from here? I mean, being double-sided tape, obviously you can just, ta-da, stick it back down, no worries. I am often as clear as a muddy puddle. Okay. So going this one. So has anybody done a Plaid cut before? How you did it and I'm just late to the party, or did you use Mod Podge square by square? Yes, please, and thanks for your mum and dad. I think manners are important. Oh, and we're back. Okay. I do think manners are important, like they're paramount. I make sure that my kids use their manners for everything, all the time. I try and instill in my boys, and I'm trying very desperately to think of the movie that it's off while I'm talking. Is it the Kingsman, not the Knightsman, the Kingsman, where they say manners maketh man. I drive that into my boys on a daily basis. And I'm hoping that they'll thank me for it one day. Okay, so there's our second row. Skip a row. I'm going to start working this way so I can put my hand in it now. So I'm skipping this row, going to this one. Oh, I should have counted that. Yes, no, yes, no. Oh, good. We have an even amount, guys. It's okay. But yes, I probably should have mentioned that. Make sure that you've got an even count around so that you don't end up with two rows the same. So because this is only a skinny little row, that's what saved us this time. So I'm going to leave the skinny little row for the purple. Oh no, I'm not. We've got to finish this one first. I'm getting ahead of myself now. If you have a weeding tool like the hook, that also works well for this. Just be careful not to hook it down under that top layer, so that you don't lift the tape. Stick that one back down and do the bottom. And it worries me a little bit that these are lifting so much. Please stay stuck. Okay, so skip our little skinny one, coming around to the last row, and then we'll start putting some glitter on finally. Maybe. Here we go. If the fates allow us to lift our squares. Why aren't you lifting? There we go. Yep, that's right. I'm just going to mute that music. I'm wondering if that's why I keep lagging. My 12-year-old asked to go to a boy-girl sleepover for Halloween, then came back and said, actually, don't worry about it. I shouldn't have asked. Oh, it's hard, isn't it? I mean, back in my day, it probably wouldn't have been as big of a deal. Like, I lived it was a typical boy next door, but he really was. He was just a friend, and then years later it came out that he was not into women anyway. But back when I was 12, like my mum, I don't think, and my mum's a very devout Christian woman, I don't think she would have even blinked an eye. Because it was a year or two after that it started being possibly a bit of a problem. But now, like, you can't trust 12-year-olds now, can you? They're getting younger and younger. Okay, so we have all of our squares pulled off. Time to make some mess. Oh, she's a girl. Oh, that's right. You've got all girls. I knew that. That just took a minute to register. Okay, so going all the way up. Actually, I should have this on a noodle, shouldn't I? I might do that after this row, just so I don't get glitter all over my hand. Before I shake off, I rub and I smush. Smushy smush. And this will be where we find out if basing it white was a mistake. Nah, we can get away with that. Okay, give me 1 second. To find, there's one, and a pole, okay, now we're good. All right, so next one. And do a little smush. Okay, so as we peel through, obviously, because we're peeling off, I do try to dry brush, but that's more me being anal about trying to save glitter. Really, you don't have to, because when you're peeling off the layers, you're going to be peeling the glitter away with the layers anyway. Okay. I'm just a tight ass with all of my craft supplies. Saves me wasting and then having to spend more money. And doing it this way with the double-sided tape, pushing it in this way as well, it means that you don't have to spray seal between every colour. But that's why, like, if this was purple and black, let's go with the purple and black example, I'd be doing my black first, then my 50-50 mix, and then finishing off with my lavender, because I wouldn't want any of that black getting in my lavender, because they are two very different colours. This way I'm doing exactly the same. We're going to do the teal, next is the 50-50 mix, and then the last lot is the purple, so that I don't get any purple any teal in my purple, or 50-50 mix in my purple. I do think a black base would have looked better, but it would have given it a bolder colour instead of being a little bit more pastel. Not that this is true pastel, but I know what I mean. Reading comments about your kids. I'm just going to go up quickly. Did anybody answer me about whether they'd done a Mod Podge before? Anybody done a Mod Podge before? Has anybody done a buffalo plaid before? And do you think that doing it this way would be easier or harder to how you did it? And if you think it would be harder, can you tell me how you did it? Because your way might be easier than this, and we can just keep improving until we've got, you know, we can churn out 20 buffalo plaids in 20 minutes. Okay, so that's our first lot done. Stand that there. The Mod Mod Podge way works. Like I said, I just found, besides the prep time, I mean, if I wasn't on camera, I probably wouldn't have had as many problems as I did cutting. But once the prep time's down, like doing this bit, you don't have to wait for the Mod Podge to dry before you do the next bit. Like it did. I mean, not that I did anyway. I always push my luck because I'm too impatient to wait for the Mod Podge to dry. So I put the Mod Podge on, do my dark colour, and then try very, very carefully not to smudge my black while I did my red and my 50-50 mix. So this just, for me personally, this is just so much easier and quicker. Okay, so, thinking about this is where our purple's going to be. So we want to pull. And I am getting little teal sprinkles in my fresh squares, but it doesn't matter because these are going to be the 50-50. Okay. Once the 50-50 is on, I am going to give it a really good dry brushing before we do the purple though. Let's see. Now you see the glitter. This is why I'm not a magician. It'd take me 90 minutes to do one trick. And now you don't. Ta-da! Okay, so from there we know that's going to be purple. So this square here, purple, 50-50, yep. Please lift. Okay. And then another 50-50 here. Okay. And now you can start to see, now that I'm pulling it off so that the glitter's not over it again, how we get our plaid pattern. So the way that I remember is on each side of the dark, 1, 2, 3, 4 is going to be my 50-50 mix, and then the 50-50 mix will then be, if this is purple, 1, 2, 3, 4 will be 50-50 as well. So any way that you look at it, you want to have 1, 2, 3, 4 squares of 50-50 around whatever the middle color is. Where was I up to? There. Oh dear, Laura, it's the part where it's still got glitter on it. There we go. I'm so tired, guys. I'm sorry. Oh, shit. Okay, so... and here again. Okay, I'm going to have to... getting a bit of build up on my tweezers. There we go. This is why I have my little dump cup. Otherwise you'd end up with squares everywhere. Unless you have a desk bin and it can go straight into a desk bin, which I don't. I barely have a desk with all the crap on it. Okay, so same deal again. We're going to go, this is going to be a bit tricky because this is the smaller one and it's in 2 parts. So we want that little bit and this little bit. And we're going to smush that line down. Okay, that's going to be purple. So So same again, pulling from this way. There's one. There's two. We're going to smush that line down now that the paper's not underneath it anymore. It's called Mermaid Green. Hang on, I'll tell you where I got it. I color coordinate it so I know for my supply. Oh, the teal came from. It's not her anymore because she sold it. Cafe Create. It used to be Chloe. But I'm pretty sure she sold it late last year to somebody else, I think. But that's where it came from originally. Was Cafe Create. I've had this one for a couple of years. Okay, getting there slowly. About halfway. But then the purple won't take long because it's only the leftover squares. Like, there are more squares of the 50-50 mix than there are of the other two colours. Obviously, because it's Plaid. That's why this is just taking a little bit longer, and I don't want to move that one. That one needs to stay stuck. So I'm going to lift it from this side instead. Maybe not. Oh shit. Sorry, that's my alarm. Okay. And then this top again. Here we go. This is what I mean by quicker, when the tape actually behaves and you can get it the first go. See? Ta-da! Okay, now going in between again. This was the impression that I wanted to create from the beginning. Nope, spoke too soon. Jinxed myself. Here we go. Okay, and then yeah. Okay, now we're getting a rhythm. This is what I meant by how quick and straightforward it is. There we go. Where did it? Here. Up to here. I'm going to take a sip of my tea because there's nothing I hate more than cold tea. I can drink it warm, but I can't drink it cold. Go from this corner. There we go. Okay, one more row. Oh, good. Is that sky? Starts with B. Is that the sky you're talking about? I know that she was selling it late last year because she wanted to, instead of closing down, she wanted to pass it on because she was having problems with her heart, I think, from memory. And I think she reopened under another name once she got her health problem sorted out. But I have not bought from Cafe Create since it changed ownership. Not because I have anything wrong with it changing ownership, I just haven't needed, like, when I bought this teal, there wasn't very many Australian suppliers for glitter. And it really was whatever you could get your hands on that wasn't the Spotlight stuff. Okay, so go do our 50-50 mix. Start on this one. And do our little smush. So that's our 50-50. We shall see. I'm just going to do it one more time because I didn't quite get stuck to those edges. I think when I made this 50-50 mix, I put a little bit more purple than teal, but when I mixed it, it looked even. You can kind of see on camera. I can see in the light that it does have teal in it, but it is a lot more purple, but that's okay. Do that corner. Whoops. Okay, maybe not be so rough because I'm pulling up the bits where, see, where the purple, where that bit came off before. It's okay. So once I finish glittering tonight, I will do it tonight, like all the glittering in the live tonight. Just going to give that a quick mix again. Tomorrow I will spray seal, and then it will be ready for epoxy, and then I'll put my name on it, and then my last coat of epoxy. So realistically, if you weren't putting a name on it, and you were just doing the pattern, you could do this in a day. Like you could do the spray painting, the prep work and spray painting in the morning. Say around lunchtime, you could do all of what we're doing now, spray seal it, and then by that night it'd be ready for epoxy. Mine's going to take a couple of days because I want to put my name on it. But still, like the first Buffalo Plaid that I did, when I was using Mod Podge. I've done 2 with Mod Podge and 1 doing it this way. And I didn't wait for the Mod Podge to dry in between doing the colours. Like I just tried to do it while it was still wet. Now it wasn't the worst thing that I've ever done. Like I was only gifting it to friends and my ex-mother-in-law anyway. So it wasn't perfect. They knew that I was only trialing it out and that I just didn't want to have cut sitting around, so I gifted it. But I think in hindsight I should have waited for each layer of Mod Podge to dry before I attempted the next colour, and it would have been a much cleaner look. But that would have taken a lot longer too, especially when you're like me and you like to leave Mod Podge sit for a day or 12 before you do anything else with it. Okay, so still smushing it in every time. almost there. And as you can see, even though I'm pushing it into the squares here, I'm making sure I get the edges. Right. Even though I'm going straight over the teal, if I hold that up really closely, I'm not actually getting that much purple. Yeah, that much of the 50-50 mix in that teal. And if I give that a really gentle brush, because I don't want to take it off what we've already done, but that actually takes away all of work that way, all of that loose glitter, see? And now I have no more purple. So once you cover the double-sided tape with the glitter, like that's it, it's not sticky anymore. You just have to be really, really gentle when you do dry brush, because you don't want to be brushing it off the tape either. So I got anybody else doing book week? Anybody else's school's doing book week? I haven't heard anything from my twin school yet, but my son, my eldest, he's in year 5. They sent out a note, like a, you know, the app notifications. And I panicked a little bit. I was only half paying attention, if I'm being honest, to when I was reading it. I just saw the word Thursday, and because it's Tuesday, I was like, oh crap. And then I sent it to because I said to my best friend, we were talking about it on the weekend, and I said to my best friend, I keep getting all of these friends asking me if I know how to do this, or, you know, what's an easy way to do this, because they're getting, they've got to do the book week parade. I said, I haven't heard anything from my kids' school, so I really hope that they don't expect me to do the parade. So when I got the notification today, I just saw Thursday and I panicked, and I sent the screenshot to my best friend, and I was like, see, I told you the school would do this to me. They've given me tomorrow to prepare. And she wrote back and she's like, oh, Laura, the 29th is next Thursday. You've got a week. Oh, so I do. So I still haven't heard anything from the twin school. And to be honest, I'm hoping that I don't. I had a slight panic attack this afternoon because I thought that I had a day to prepare a book week costume. I still only got a week. But he wants to be the cowboy from Red Dead Redemption. And I'm like, he's 10. And I'm pretty sure Red Dead is like MA. So maybe just go as a cowboy and don't tell everybody that it's from Red Dead Redemption. Okay? I'm happy for you to be a cowboy. So, we're almost done. I am going to give this a really quick dry brushing. Okay. I need, do I have any more? Yes, I do. I need more baking paper. In a second, guys. My lack of preparation has come to play. Give me a chance to catch up on comments. I wouldn't do it with this. I've done Mod Podge with like it used to be the way that I applied full coats of glitter for a very long time. Just because to me, when I was using epoxy, I didn't want to have to put a really thick coat of epoxy on just to glitter it to use more epoxy. It wasn't, I was about maybe almost a year into cup making before I came across the hang method. And now I just use the hang method for most of my glitter applications if it's a full application. But I used to use Mod Podge for everything. And now if I cannot use Mod Podge, I'll find a way to avoid it. Hence the hang method, and now all of this double-sided tape. And you can use double-sided tape for Plaid. You can use it for like the vertical lines. I made my daughter a Fruit Tingles drink bottle with all neons. That was all double-sided tape. You can do candy cane swirls. Go for it. Anything that has any kind of line pattern. Okay, so now we've just got our purple to go, which I am going to lift row by row and glitter at the same time, only because I don't want any transference. I'm going to be super careful not to flip the glitter onto the square as I lift it, like I just did there. There we go. We did book week in August. Well, wait, school on? Yeah, we were back at school in August. It's supposed to be this week, which is why I was saying to Mel, like, I'm a bit worried that I haven't got any letters from the schools yet. Maybe our schools aren't doing it. I do know a few other schools in the area are doing theirs this week, but when I didn't hear anything, but no, didn't get out of it that quick easily. Okay, I'm just going to do those spots one more time. Because we made it this far without needing to do another coat. Let's get that purple off. And there we go. I'll hold that up. See, so you can see I probably made the 50-50 mix a little bit too purple. But you can, up close, you can see that there is a definite difference. I'm hoping the camera's picking that up better in real life than on my screen. My screen brightness is right down. But there is, I can see, a definite distinction between the two. Ta-da! We're getting there! Okay, so we'll do, let's do these little skinny two-side bits. And not put the rubbish in the glitter shaker like I just did. Put it in there instead. And we're going to swap those around so that I don't make the same mistake twice. Okay. Try very carefully not to flick any of that glitter that's on the tape up now. Whoop, like I just did. And you'll see what I meant when I said I had a bit of trouble when I was doing the teal with it lifting up. If you can't tell. That's why it was so hard, because I'm doing the wrong side first. And sorry about my air freshener going off in the background if you can hear that. If it's any consolation, it scares the crap out of me. I think I'm going to lift that whole bit of double-sided tape off because it was already glittered. So I am going to have a gap here. I'm just going to go in and Mod Podge that. I'd rather Mod Podge the tiny, tiny little line than have uneven squares. So this little section here, because it's not the same size as the rest of the cup, I'm going to cover it with my name so that it doesn't stand out so much. See what I mean about the gap in 1 second. See how the tape, right? So I picked that tiny little slither of tape off. There it is. And I will Mod Podge that. Probably not on camera, but I will Mod Podge that. But yeah, that would have annoyed. See, there's a little bit here as well where I've pulled down the corner. There are a couple of little spots I'll fix up. But because the tape came off when we were glittering that part before, that was actually a 50-50, so it would have made the 50-50 wider and not given me that nice straight line here. And because I'm anal and everything has to be, so I just took it straight off the cup. Where are we up to here? Does anybody have any questions? That'd be nice, Anna. Hello? I like that idea. This is metallic, obviously. But hollow would be nice. And I've got a few hollows. If I get an order to do another Plaid, I'll try and encourage them to let me use holographic instead of metallic. These are just, this is one of my favourite purples and one of my favourite teals that I have in my collection. The purple I use, have been using quite a lot because it's quite popular for baubles this year. But the teal, I haven't used this teal in a while. But it is one of my favourite colour combos. Almost done, guys. Look at that. Got 2 rows to go. Give the tacket method effect. I was going to suggest that, but then that's why I went quiet for a minute. If you wanted to, and you can do it, but I'm wondering if you did like the 50-50 mix, still do a 50-50 mix, but make the 50-50 squares because they're the ones that are on there the most. If you could do them as the tacket, like the brandish tacket, and then just leave the 2 solid colours unbrandished, just to give it a little bit more distinction. And then you'd have that nice, you know, the tacket look where it has the light shifts in it. You'd have that as the majority of the cup then, but it would still give the solid colours the definition that you want. If you do it, post a picture. Do have a wipe it on my pants because that's what I do anyway. Starting to get a fair bit of purple built up on my teal, so it's not so clean anymore. So just fix that as we go. Not that I should be bothering with this lot now because I'm about to go over it with purple anyway. That was clever. This is our last row anyway. So there's 1, 2, 3, just while I'm counting, I'm really sorry that this live has appeared in the event and not the group. It asked me if I was doing a live for my event, and I was like, yes, and it goes, do you want to link them so that it shows up in the live, in the event and in the group? And I was like, yeah, they're brilliant, right? And then now for some reason it's only brought, well, to my knowledge, it was only broadcasting in the event. So I'm wondering if the live happens in the event and then the replay shows up in the group. But I am recording this one. Just in case, so that I can still post it if it doesn't end up showing up in the group. This is our last row. But I thought the event might be easier than everybody having to set alarms and stuff in their phones. If you just RSVP to the event, you all should have gotten a notification about an hour beforehand, and then I think it sends it again when it's time for the event. So if I can figure it, I mean, hopefully this live shows up in the group, and if it does, I might do that from now on and mark it as an event. And then nobody has to worry about setting any alarms or anything. Okay, so I'm just going to very, very gently just trying to clean up my teal. Give it a quick dry brush. I shouldn't have done that over the purple. That's alright. Lucky I dry brushed it before the purple, hey? But that is our teal and purple plaid using double-sided tape. So there is a couple of areas that I will go through and fix. I was a bit rushed trying to cut it. The bottom I'm going to do teal. I think I'll just keep as a solid teal. And then, not that it's super noticeable when you turn it really, really quickly, but with our little skinny section there, I'm going to put my name so that it doesn't stand out so much. That is our plaid. You could schedule a post in the group. Anna, somebody had tacket in stock the other day. Who was it? Was it Samantha? Might have been Samantha. Pardon me. I think somebody said that they had tacket in stock the other day. But let me have a look and I'll get back to you. But that is our super simple plaid. Now, but besides me wrapping, right, that took me an hour, and that was because I talk a lot in lives and I wasn't exactly concentrating 100% on my work. But I reckon if you were at home by yourself and you were doing this, the last time that I did it took me 45 minutes. Like, I was done and spray sealed in 45 minutes versus like an hour or two if you'd use Mod Podge. So in my opinion, this is a much easier way. That is our plaid. Put that there. So next step for that will be to spray seal. Just because when I go to epoxy it, I don't want all of my colours having a party and mixing together, and then we lose those really, really nice lines. I have not done it before, but I have been entertaining the idea of putting the lines, like, you know how people use the nail tape and they mark their lines. So I'm not decided on if I want to do that yet, but that is another option for you to get a hollow or a silver or a white or something and line all of your squares with nail tape or strips of vinyl or something, just to give it a little bit more defined look. I have not done that before, but I figure it's a cup for me, so I might have a play and I might put the Plaid lines in. But if you were to do that, you'd still have to spray seal and do a layer of epoxy first. Then once the epoxy's on, I'm going to put my name on it and possibly do the lines, and then another final coat of epoxy. If you aren't putting any vinyl on it, this just needs spray sealing and epoxying and you're done. Super simple. That is it.